today's guest, well, I followed her from Dublin to Bali, Thailand, London, and back to Dublin. It's a great story. She is a phenomenal lady. She has a great message. So enjoy today's episode with Siobhan O'Hagan. This series of BBL podcast is brought to you by award-winning skincare brand, Irish-founded, female-founded, Ella & Jo, by the amazing Charlene Flanagan and Niamh Ryan. I will tell you more about Ella & Jo during this episode. Siobhan, welcome. Thank you so much for coming today, and I'm so glad you found us.
Yeah, who knew Dundrum at the 5th floor?
Well, actually, apparently not the staff.
Yeah. And I just thought she was looking very official, and I was looking so lost. Like, I'm always lost in Dundrum. But
yes.
I was like, make a day out of it, come over to the south side. I had a couple of things on today, and I'm going to go shopping after. But I was standing there looking so lost, and I saw a girl with a tie, and I was like, anyway, she was helping me. She's like, 5th floor? Yeah. Maybe it's outside. And
I know. I never knew that this was here. Dublin South Studios, where we record, and it's on the 5th floor. And even when you come up the 5th floor, I still question it. Yeah. I go, hang on though, but where do I go now? I always get asked where the eggs are in Duns because I always wear black. So I constantly go, I'm so sorry, I don't work here. And actually, well, back in the day, we won't go back there, but I did used to merchandise in Duns occasionally. So I fitted in just superbly.
You've done it all.
Oh, listen, girl. Anyway, you too. I've been following you since back in the day, like the Snapchat days, the Bali days, the watching you
back as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Not for me though. I think I'm too old now. No, I think I'm just too old.
I said the same about TikTok, and
I know.
Well, saying that I haven't really got into it that much. But
I dip. I dip
same.
in.
I go and last week I was like, I'll do Vlogmas where I record every day, and then I had to stop because I was like, my life's too boring. There's no point in showing them my life every day.
Well, I watch your life and I don't think it's boring. So, and like I say, it's going way, way back. But BBL is all about, you as a person and really how it all started for you. So, let's go right back to the beginning. And where did it all start?
How far back? As a child or school or
absolutely.
Instagram?
I'm really interested in, where did you grow up and what did you do and what schools did you go to? What was your grab? What did you go for?
Oh, I haven't actually talked. No one's asked me this in a while.
Okay.
So I'm from Swords, North County Dublin, beside the airport. That's what I always tell everyone when they don't know where I am. Very handy for getting lifts in and out of being collected. And I am oldest of 3, and I really feel like I had that. Like, even as a child, I think I was a little bit of I was very confident. I was a little bit of a brat, but I studied hard. So I got away. I was a weird one in school. It's like I was always in trouble, but I was always doing really well.
Okay.
So,
you just like to push the boundaries.
Yeah.
I was kind of that girl.
Yeah,
I like that.
The teachers didn't know what to make of me because, I was performing well, but then I was getting sent to the principal's office. And
And the oldest of 3, are you all all girls?
So I have a sister who is 2.5 years younger than me and a brother who's 7 years younger, and we all get on great. Yeah, I feel so lucky. I had a great upbringing. Looking back now, my mum and dad didn't have that much. They had enough, right? But we were never spoiled, or definitely not to the level that I spoil Kyla. But we had loads of nice things. We had a mobile home in Wexford, and that great memories of summers down there. And because my mum and dad worked in the airport, we had cheap flights. So we used to go to America all the time, which
amazing.
Again, looking back, I thought it was normal just go to Disneyland twice a year.
Wow.
But it was just because we were getting it so cheap. So yeah, great memories growing up. We have a lot of home videos. My dad loved cameras. So I'm very glad there was no social media, but we've loads of memories. But you can even see from the videos, I'm like, Dad, take a video. Dad, take a video of me. And funny, I looked like Bosco as a child, the curly red hair.
Oh, bless you. And did you take the role of the older sibling? Were you more of the nurturer? Did they look to you, or was it? Because I'm 2.5 years
competitive, I'd say.
Well, this is so funny. So I interviewed someone very recently, actually, that's on the pod, and she's 2.5 years between her and her sister as well, and I am too. And I was saying to her, the rivalry, because I got on really well with my older sister. We were like twins, but we were definitely competitive.
Yeah, we were, the 2.5 years were so different.
Okay.
But I love her. It's the best thing ever having a sister. But we were so different. We shared a bedroom growing up, and I was always an early riser, and she loves a lion. And we used to have a rule getting ready for school. I wasn't allowed to talk to her until after she had her cornflakes. Because I'd be like, hey, morning, want to get up? Hey, I hear you awake. And so we were we when we were sharing a room, we were killing each other. And we'd have a fight, or normal sisters. And she'd hit me, and then I hit her back, and then she'd be like, Mom! And I'm like, started it, like hit me back.
I love those fights.
But you know what brought us really close was going to Wexford for the summers. We used to just, we only had each other down there. And then we had a cousin in between. So the three of us were like really good friends. And then in school or playing football, we played Gaelic football in Camogie, and we were on the same teams, probably more as a teenager, but we ended up having the same group of friends.
Yes.
So even now, like my friends are her friends. So we ended up so close. And I think it was when I first told her a secret when we were, maybe 12 or 13, I told her a secret and she didn't tell anyone. And I was like, oh, I can trust you. Yes. And ever since then, we've just been best friends. And she is so different to me still, which is good because I'm still all out there and like posting videos and like, hey, Roisin, take a photo. And she's just so chill, just so easygoing. And everyone loves her.
That is so nice. I mean, I have 4 sisters and we are all very different. All, very, very different. But there's nothing, like I feel sorry for people that don't have a sister when they're a girl because it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's one of those things, if you don't know what you're missing out on. Yeah. And then I was lucky to have a brother as well. And like, because he was 7 years younger than me, at 7, it was like getting this doll. Like it was the most exciting thing ever. And I remember him being 2 and I was 9 and it was just like my little buddy. And he's great. He's like the high achiever. He's like, I thought I was doing well. Yeah. And then Roisin was doing, like we all just did all different mad kind of things, like, and then he's like came along, did the engineering firsts. He's got a good job and he's a sensible one.
Your mum and dad must be very proud.
They are. Considering definitely of him anyway. And they never knew what to make of what I was doing really, but they were always encouraging. Like,
no, it sounds amazing, and I think that's it, isn't it? Like you said earlier, you didn't feel your parents were rich, but you had and I would have been the same. I always thought my parents were rich because I had such a great time. I didn't know they didn't have 2 bob to put together, but we had a great life.
Yeah.
And at school, like, Did you like the academic side, or were you more sports led?
Which direction? I wasn't. I did. I never. I don't know. I think it comes from maybe me I'm always really competitive.
Yeah.
So I think that's where me doing well in school. It was just. I feel like this is through therapy now. I'm like, God, maybe that was why I was smart, because I just wanted to be better than everyone else. But I think I did well. I remember primary school, I did well. I got suspended in primary school, which is...
In primary? Yeah. Jesus Christ, what did you do?
I went in the Mitch. There was 6 of us went in the Mitch out of the same class. Yeah. Unsurprisingly, we got caught. But I remember trying to come up with an excuse, and I was like, I'm just bored. Like, maths is easy. And... God, I was a little brat.
Now I'm pushing me in there.
Yeah. Anyway, I've changed. I'm a lot more humble. But then went to secondary school, and I actually had a friend, and we were probably not good for each other. Like that's what she was. She was going on the Midge, and then I was like, oh, will I go as well? And but then we ended up having a falling out in first year in school, I think, and which is probably good because then I kind of got my head down and had new friends and. Yeah, I studied hard. I didn't really enjoy school, but didn't dislike it. Yeah. I was always trying to be with cool kids, I was smoking behind the scouts den, but also playing Gaelic football and
balance.
And that's what I would say, balance. Even when I remember doing leave in cert year, I had one teacher she was the year head, and she used to wear the black cape, and everyone was terrified of her. But I had her for accounting, which I was good at. So she loved me, but she was the year head. So then I was in I think it was English. Yeah. And I don't know if I didn't like the teacher didn't like me. And I was so cheeky, and she was like, that's it, you're going to the year head. And I turned up at the other teacher, and she's like, what? As in you're my star. She couldn't understand that I was that too.
And you'll see this now with your daughters, but doesn't it just prove that teachers make a massive difference to us, and we all need to be treated in different ways.
Yeah, and actually I was listening to radio the other day, and they were talking about authority and should teachers be seen as these and I was thinking, God, it worked well, because I was terrified of that teacher and did really well. I think I got an A1 in accounting, and then in English, scraping through. But again, that was me. I don't know why I gelled well. Maybe it was authority.
Yeah.
Obviously I didn't do too well with authority, smoking and everything. But yeah, I kind of got through school, and then because I was an early riser, I used to study in the mornings, and I used to get up, and my sister would be asleep, and I was doing my 2 hours of study. I was really organised. I remember just timetables and highlighters and everything. Did the leaving cert.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you? Okay. Surprise.
Now, you could have looked that up.
No, I didn't look that up.
Can you tell?
I know so many Virgos. I've been out with a few Virgos in my time.
And it's so funny, whenever I say that I don't believe in star signs, everyone's like, classic Virgo.
Classic Virgo.
You got me. And now again, I'm like, you could have looked that up. I'm such a logical thinker. And that's I did well in maths, physics, accounting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I applied for financial and actuarial maths in DCU. Don't know why. I just want to be rich. Again, I just thought you just follow what will give you the best job.
Yes.
No, never even thought that I was interested in art or music or sports, or it just never was an option.
But you're young.
Yeah.
You just.
These decisions at 18,
it's mad that we made the decisions then anyway.
Yeah. So I went into DCU, and then it was completely opposite of the way I was in school. I just had the time of my life. I was like, oh my God, I can do what I want. We can go drinking. We can eat everything. We can hang out and not study. And I basically scraped through the degree, 4 years of scraping through. It was so hard, actuarial maths.
But did you have a good time?
Yeah, had the time. That's the only reason I stayed. I would have dropped out if it wasn't so much fun.
And were you living out of home?
No, I was still living at home because I was so close. I was in Swords and DCU was just there. But I basically I'd made friends that lived on campus, and I just stayed there all the time, and wild times. It was great.
Yeah, I love that.
But then I was like, what am I doing with my life? And I had done work placement in a company, a small software company, and then I joined them when I finished the degree on a permanent job. I actually spent 2 summers in Portugal just trying to wait. I was going to put off the real life, And
were you working out there?
Yeah, my auntie had gone over there she fell in love with a Portuguese fisherman and had set up a business over there selling boat trips. So I was like, I'll go over for the summer, sell tickets, and I had a great time. And then did it again the next year because I still wasn't ready to enter real life.
And whereabouts in Portugal were you?
Alvor in the Algarve.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah, I know. And it's that auntie's now passed away, but she taught me so much about life and business, which I didn't even realise I was picking it up at the time. Yeah. I was just she was so smart. And I remember being like, why aren't you in Dublin, running a huge company? Or I just couldn't comprehend what she was doing. And then, I remember,
ta-da, because of this.
Yeah, she had 2 little girls. I remember they were running around the beach, and she was like, I just value their lives and them having a good life. And I was like, but you could be making more money in Dublin. It didn't click at the time. She taught me so much. And then I was like, right, time to get a real job. It didn't go in at all. And I did. So I went back to that software company, and it was a good job, but it was quite a small company. So it was the owners and then us all pretty much at the one level. Yeah. So there was not much room for progression.
Okay.
I also felt I was absolutely winging it. Going into big companies, I had to go into big companies and help implement software, and I didn't even understand the software. I didn't know what I was doing, but I still had a job. I was just, it was grand. And then I was kind of a bit lost, and it was more my time. I was like, it was from trying to book a beautician's appointment once, and I was like, I can only do a Thursday evening or
Saturday morning.
Yeah. And I was like, God, every other part of my life, I'm at this desk. And I kind of just, had a quarter life crisis. I was about 25 at the stage, and I was like, what else could I do? And went and basically I spoke to my friend in recruitment, and she basically recruited me to do recruitment.
Okay.
Which I thought I'd like because it's a bit more social.
Yeah, and you're doing good for people.
Yeah, and before that I've been working in a nightclub. I was working in the right venue in Swords, and I was in the penthouse. Yeah, I was head hostess in the penthouse. It was a great job. Okay. So social. So I was like, how do I combine my maths degree and because I used to do the software job during the week and then put on the heels and sequins and do that in the evenings or at the weekend. Anyway, recruitment, I was like, yeah, because it's corporate, but it's social. But I did that for about a year, and I liked, I was good at building the relationships and chatting away, and I was kind of getting big deals from people who trusted me, but I wasn't good at the salesy bits. I wasn't cutthroat enough, and
the negotiation piece.
And even looking back now, I'm like, I hate making phone calls. I don't know what I was doing. I would cold call people.
It's sales, isn't it?
Yeah. Which I realised after about a year, and I actually got a bonus, and I kind of realised that I was like, this money isn't doing it for me. I'm so stressed. I had gone through a breakup at home. I was back living at home, and I was just so lost. And and then I really didn't know what to do. And I went into the HR lady in recruitment, and I was like, can you pay for me to do a master's in software engineering? And she said no, because we had nothing to do with that job. Okay. And I was really upset. And she was like, what do you really want to do? And I was like, stay in the gym all day. And she's like, what about becoming a PT? And again, it would never, I was so focused on career ladders and what people thought of me. And I was like, that's not.
Get that sensible job, get that pensionable job,
like keep
make some
up.
money, we move up the ranks.
Whereas being a PT was like leaping off into the unknown. And again, it was probably a bit of pride as well in myself. And like, you know, I have a maths degree. I should be doing something mathsy. I don't know. Turns out it's a waste of time. I know, I had a great time. No, but so I was still really embarrassed with trying to be a PT. So and because I couldn't do the course I wanted to do with the hours I was working in recruitment, I had to go back to the software company, my tail between my legs. And they gave me a contract role just to do, like, because the hours are better. It was literally just 9 to 5.
Yes.
And I did that course in the evening. So I finally felt like I was working on something
for you.
Yeah. Like I was getting up in the morning and like getting up at 5 a.m, training in the gym, getting the bus into work. Like I had all my food prepped. I was then going to the college in the evenings, going home, prepping food, doing it again. I was exhausted, and I started the Instagram. I was like, if I'm going to be a PT, I have to try and get myself in shape. Because obviously I thought 10 years ago that to be a PT, you had to look a certain way.
Absolutely.
So I started sharing this journey on Instagram, and Instagram was only kicking off. And it was also the timing. I think the timing, it was like there wasn't that many women lifting weights on Instagram. So I was just showing that. Of course, they're showing my body every week of like a transformation photo. Look at this, look at that. And I was proud of what I was doing and excited to help others. And of course, those people were like, okay, how do I do this? Is it loads of cardio and abs? And I was like, no, just heavy lifting and eating well. I can't even remember what I was eating at the time. But anyway, it grew. And by the time I qualified as a PT, I had, I don't know, maybe 10,000 followers, and I was ready to go. Like I had a business built basically, because I had some people who wanted me to train them. Which that was the point of the Instagram, was just as a business card. Yeah. And I was flat out, and I was in the gym. I kind of missed though the routine of my
9 to 5.
Yeah, all of a sudden my training was all over the place, because my 6 a.m. I was now training other people, and then I'd have a couple hours in the middle of the day, and then I was training people in the evenings. And
I see it all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure you see it.
Yeah, people come to me and they're like, I really want to be a Pilates instructor, and the minute they become a Pilates instructor, they never do Pilates again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing?
Probably same with yoga.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah. And I kind of felt, and then I was kind of embarrassed, because I was like, I had this uneasy feeling in me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been talking about this for months. Like, this was my dream. What am I doing now? If I thought about doing anything else, it's like I felt like a bit of a fraud or something. But I didn't know. It just felt like,
is it that thing of like, because people are watching, you're thinking that you're letting them down?
I mean, because I've been like, this is the dream, qualified, I'm doing it, woo. And then I was like, it wasn't that I didn't want to do it. I just didn't know what was wrong. It was just this like uneasiness. And that's why I started reading like self-help books, and just starting to learn about values and goals, and the Tony Robbins books, where they're like, imagine the perfect life. And I had this vision of being on a laptop on the beach.
Yeah.
And then I broke it, and like the book was really good. It was like, let's break this down. You don't have to win the lotto to do that. Let's just, like break it down to figure out what it actually means. And little things like, I had set all these mad goals. I was like, I want to be a travel blogger, and I had, manifested, and I don't even know how much I believe in that, but I had these goals set out, and I had emojis on my screensaver just to remind myself of the goals. But I think even subconsciously, when you set these things in motion, that like these things happen. And the travel blogger one, it just reminds you that I got invited then. I was paid to go on a trip to Thailand on a fitness retreat.
Yes.
And that kind of kicked things off, because I did that and I was like, oh my God, Thailand. And I ended up having to go. I had booked, I was supposed to stay longer with my friend. She was supposed to come, and we were going to do a few weeks after the retreat. And she didn't end up coming. So I was like, I'm going to be on my own in Thailand. Like, this is insane. Like I think I had done like maybe the odd weekend on my own to Europe, but I was like, I can't go to Thailand on my own. But it was the making of me. Like I found myself, lost myself, found myself, and I think I was still working in the gym at this time.
Yeah. And which gym were you working?
It was only a small one in Malahide.
Okay, perfect.
It was mainly just
close enough to home again.
Yeah, I was still. I think I'd moved out at this. I started renting an apartment in Swords, and I thought like, this is it. I thought I'd eventually buy that apartment. Like that was my goal at the time. Until I was like, actually, I want freedom. Like why am I trying to stay in this apartment if I want freedom? But
it's what we're taught, isn't it? It's like, get a sensible job, buy a house, meet someone. You know, it's that these are the stages of your life, and life just isn't like that.
I mean, I think what the message I try to get out to people is like, just make sure what you're doing is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Like if you want to do that, go for it. But if that's I think why I was feeling uneasy. I was kind of like, I'm doing what I feel like I should be doing, and watch out for that word "should" all the time.
Yeah.
And when it came down to it, like I was like, I really want to just travel. And I realised I also wasn't very money driven, which is also a very privileged thing to say. But I mean, I figured out how much I needed to do what I wanted to do. And I was like, why am I paying all this rent? Like I went to Thailand twice and came back to the apartment and gone, I have this 2-bedroom apartment full of stuff that I definitely don't need. I've lived the last 2 months without it. So just after my 30th birthday, packed up the apartment, moved into a suitcase and went on a one-way ticket to Bali, to Thailand, but I ended up in Bali like a week later. And I had to give up I obviously had to give up training. So that was a big thing. Like to stop training people in person, obviously I had to build an online. I'd always had the online business kind of starting because people were following me from all over the world and wanted me to train them. Like I kind of like made up
but there's
online
a difference
coaching.
between people following you and then people wanting to work with you online. That's a community of people that
it was great.
Yeah, it's completely different. So you'd built a really authentic following, but it's your community more than people just
and there's
watching.
people still here. Yeah, like there's people still follow me, and like it's been such an up and down journey, and I've changed so much, and even my values have changed, my messaging has changed, and if people have stuck around, I'm like, wow. But I also completely understand if whatever I'm posting, like some people might have followed me because they want to see transformation photos, and all of a sudden I'm just showing life in Bali, and then I'm talking in Bali, I'm like, just live differently, and like that was me at the time. And
but
now
if your messaging didn't change and your values didn't change, you wouldn't be growing up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And now I'm like, I'm just happy back living in Swords in a 2-bed apartment with my baby. Like, and if you'd said that to me a few years ago, I'd be like, what went wrong? Like, but now I'm like, I'm so content, and I've been content at all those things. I think it's always from following my own values, and noticing my values shifting, and not like sticking with like staying in Bali because I'd be like, I told everyone that I didn't want to ever live back in Dublin, or saying I didn't want kids. Like I could have stuck to that, but I was just acknowledging that. I was like, oh my God, my values change. I think I might have just got a bit older.
No, absolutely. Somebody said to me recently, I think my opinion's changed on that. I've done a bit of work on myself and I'm not sure. And I'm like, if you're not doing that, then you're not growing.
Yeah.
And you're not growing up. We don't stop. I mean, I always have joke that there's an age that everybody reaches. I've got a younger sister and she should have always been 40. And when she hit 40, it was perfection for her because she was always 40. I'm always 27. I can't move on from 27.
I think I'm like 31, 32. Like and at one stage I really thought I was stuck there because in Bali I feel like everyone, obviously you have people from all different ages and lifestyles and everything, but it's like because no one's in like following the quote unquote normal route of like house, kids, marriage, everyone just feels like the same age. Like so, and you're not like, there's very rarely you're like, God, I'm too old to go out with that crowd. Until one time I was like, are you all under 25? Like when, and I was like, God, I'm 35 or 30, whatever age it was, probably 34 leaving. So like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like that I was going to stay that age forever if I hadn't left. Yeah, no, and I think like there was something actually on, somebody sent me an Instagram the other day and it said, at what point do you feel old? And I asked my mum. My mum is just about to hit 80 and I said, no, because I just don't feel old. I'm 53. I don't think I'm old, but I'm older than I was 20 years ago. And I said to her, when do you feel old? And she said, you never feel old. Yeah. Your body just fails you. Yeah. So you never feel old. She said, if my mum was still alive and she walked into a room, I'd still feel 12. Yeah. And when I'm with my sisters, I still feel like I'm in my 30s. I know, like I do not feel adult enough to be making adult decisions. Yeah. Adulting, as we call it. Yeah, like the whole I got some, I suppose not great financial advice 2 years ago, like making all these finance. I'm like, I should not have been like, who let me make these? Yeah. Like who? Like I feel like, and even my mum and dad are great. Like I don't even think I asked them about that. But like I look at other adults, even people that I went to school with, and I'd see them now, and I'm like, God, they're an adult now. And I'm like, God, that's like, I'd see say a woman like that I would have thought is like a serious adult. And they're like, oh gosh, she was in my class. And like, that means I'm that age. And I'm like, oh my God,
Well, I always think everybody's older than me as well.
Yeah, I know, that's the other thing, yeah.
Yeah, and then I walk away and I realise I find out they're 10 years younger than me and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like such a fool.
I know, I'm terrible for going like our age. And like, actually I have a friend who's like a year and a half younger than me. She's like, your age. Like,
friend? Yeah. Actually, I was in Dundrum yesterday and this lady tried on a dress and she walked out. And I say the three ladies were in their 60s. They weren't much older than me anyway. And this lady walked out of a changing room and her two friends just absolutely started wetting their pants laughing. And I just turned, I went, oh my God, you're so mean. And the girl was laughing herself and she said, no, it's horrendous. Look at it. And I said, I know, but I'm not taking you guys shopping. And they were like, oh, no. But they were the three of them in hysterics. And I was like, do you know what? Like, friendship is so important. And it was just so lovely to see. And but I had to pull them up on it.
I actually was in a change room yesterday with Kyla. I brought the buggy in and she'd only just woke up, but I was trying on these black jeans and they fit me, but they just weren't that nice, but they were going really cheap. And I was like, I get them anyway. I didn't even ask her and she just went, no. And I was like, what? She goes, no. And I was like, okay. That's that. I was like, I was undecided. Amazing. But that's sold.
First word.
No. Yeah. I mean, like, if I like, she's only 15 months. Like that's not like she. I didn't think she understood what was going on, but like she still made my decision.
I shouldn't lick it off a stamp. Fair play.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm like, oh God, she's gonna be like me.
My sister actually says with my niece, if my niece is playing up, my sister says it's just so difficult because I look at her and I'm looking in the mirror. Yeah. And she's doing
I'm like, I just wish you're a little bit more like my sister growing up. They were saying like she was so calm and I was always like, I'm like, hope you're a little bit more like Roisin than me. But I don't know how that's going to happen.
Listen, should be great. I want to say thank you so much to Ella and Joe, our sponsors of this episode of Be-Bell Podcast. Ella and Joe is all about bringing a joy and vibrancy to skincare. Each product is inspired by nature and boosted by science, designed to deliver the most amazing results, but also to be kind to your skin. It is luxury moments that brighten up our day. And as always, I want to bring it back to me with my two hero products. The 3-in-1 Hyaluronic Spritz, it stays in my bag all the time. And if you haven't tried Melt Away, then it's a must. It's the most beautiful cleanser. And don't forget, all Be-Bell listeners can get 20% off all full-size products online. Just use the code Be-Bell at checkout. So thank you, Ella and Joe, for sponsoring this series of Be-Bell Podcast. So you fly off and you do your thing. And I remember watching it. So I always remember your red shorts. They just always stick in my mind. I just remember red shorts. I just remember that era.
Yeah, probably in Thailand, Bali. It's all a bit of a blur. I was kind of going back and forth and all over the place. And I loved that. Like, I had such freedom. Like, I'd built the business all online, which was great because even during COVID, everyone was kind of scrambling to build an online business. And I was very lucky that I had it going. And it's such a blur. Like, from my 30th birthday up until I was 34. I don't know, when did I'm not going again, it's all about, I was just 32 forever. But I was either spending the winters in like Bali, Thailand, I'd come home, do London, maybe a couple of little summer trips. I didn't live anywhere. Like, that's what I felt like. I'd no fixed abode. Like, I was
nomad.
Yeah. And I had stuff obviously stuff in my parents' house, but there was never really that much room for me to stay there, especially like when my sister so like whenever I came back to Dublin, I used to rent somewhere. So then, but it was always so expensive to stay in Dublin. So I was like, well, I'll just go somewhere else. And so I was just always on the move. Yeah. Which I enjoyed. But like, because I was clear on my values of that freedom and happiness, it meant then I had to like accept some of the things that I would have to sacrifice, like security or missing out on family or friends times. Yeah. So now that, my values have shifted again. I'm like, I probably am missing out that freedom and that, I don't know, heat and the sun is always one that I'm like, but I'm here for like special family time, I'm there for all my friends' occasions that I missed and everything. And like that security, I've just been able to even just like buy a TV. Like, I've got stuff now. Not that much because I'm still renting.
You don't have to like put them in a box and
I did actually. Sorry, I did do that recently because I moved back in my parents for like 2 months while I was waiting for this apartment to be ready. But I realised when I was putting all in storage unit, I was like, God, I've got some stuff now. Like, I mean, like, I definitely, I'm in Ireland now.
Okay.
Well, like, I mean, never say never.
I've
really learned that. But
you have the knowledge now to be able to make those choices later in life. Yeah. You've already done it. So you have.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived so many places, and it's really hard to know what I would think of as a forever home. Like, what is it? Even moving back to Dublin, I was like, I need to be beside the good cafes. So I'm like living in town, so I can walk to 3FE and all this. And then I was like, oh no, wait, I need to be near my family. Like, that's actually way more important when you have a baby. Yeah. And then when I was moving again, they're like, well, so you're going to go to that school. I was like, oh, schools. Like, it's all these things that, and even in Bali, like, I lived in these most amazing villas that, you know, if you won the lotto, probably wouldn't even look that good. But the shine of it wears off after a few weeks. And then you're like, God, I'm glad I didn't spend.
The shift in the head, though, of like, you know, I'm ready to move on now. Was it the pregnancy, or was it before the pregnancy? Or
no, it was before that. Okay. I had an existential crisis. One night, my friend sent me this video of a guy that I followed. I know him, I talked to him a good bit. My other friend sent me his video. Yeah. Like, oh, look, he's slagging off digital nomads. And my friend thought it would like rile me up. But the video was talking about, like, you know, he's at home. He's a doctor, and he's obviously working so hard. He was studying to be a doctor, obviously completely different life to me, you know, like, and running a business at the same time. So he's like studying, working, training, like the most disciplined person I've ever met. Anyway, so his video was all about, he was like, I could up and go to Thailand and take my laptop. And he's like, but I believe it's like the equivalent of having fast food all the time. It's like, there's something to be said for having like a home cooked meal. Yes. I'm definitely paraphrasing here. Like, I'm trying to remember, but he was like, there's, if you don't have any struggle, there's no purpose. And there is a struggle in it. He's like, he goes, I acknowledge that I put a lot more struggle on me than the normal person, but he's like, there is purpose in the day-to-day struggles. Okay. Again, I can't remember the whole video. It was a couple of minutes long, but I remember putting it down and being like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Because previously I have always made my decisions of like, am I happy? Yes, keep going. Like, am I not? What do I need to change to do that? Like, that was, so it kept me in a very happy place. Yeah. In that, like, I was getting up and like, even things I'm like, oh, I'm very busy at work. I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm like, oh, maybe I'll outsource this. That's sorted. Yes. And I'm back to being happy and just going training and eating nice food. Or even like, if I start feel like I even with nutrition and stuff, I was kind of get a lot of freedom with it. And then if I did get to a point where I'm like, I don't feel good, I'm like, oh yeah, why? I'm like, oh yeah, because you haven't been nurturing your body. I'm like, okay, let's change that. Like, it was just these tiny little iterations that kind of kept me on this path of happiness. But I was also doing jiu-jitsu at the time, like, or I always will be doing, never say never. But I started jiu-jitsu, and it was such a challenge. Like, it's so physically challenging, mentally challenging. You're going in every day, you're getting thrown around by men. It's like, as a physically challenging, but I loved it so much. Like, and you talk about it and people are like, why'd you do that? I'm like, it's so, like, to turn up every day is a struggle. And then you get there, it's so rewarding. So I kind of was having this, I was like, if I apply that to my life, I was like, I don't have any struggles. Like, it's, again, such a first world problem to say it, but because I had really, really followed all these values and got to where I wanted to get to, it was like, I didn't really have a purpose, I realised. So just over this weekend, after watching that video, I couldn't sleep that night. I remember just getting up and I was like, I need to meditate on this or something. I was like, I need to spend some time in my own head thinking,
analysing it.
So I remember getting on my moped, going down to the beach, and I was like, no headphones. I was like, I'm just going to walk and think. I was like, I need to get my thoughts straight. Yeah. And I remember seeing this couple walking along, probably with a toddler, and I was just like, they're probably, look at them in their little bubble there, in their little universe. They're probably so happy, again, projecting, but just, I was like, they don't care about how much money's in the, or like, they don't care about like flying first class or doing anything impressive. Like, if their whole world is probably that little bubble. Yeah. And then I was like, have I missed out on something here? And then, because I've always said I didn't want kids. Okay. And up to this point, I was like, oh my God, this was, everything happened so fast this weekend in Bali. It's April 2022, and I was like, what if I've missed, I was like, what if my values are wrong? That's what I was like, what if my values are moving me away from the meaning of life? And then I was like, no, actually, maybe maybe everyone's values. Like there's no perfect values. Like no one knows the meaning of life, obviously. But, I was looking at friends that maybe had different values where they had security and family and they had stayed at home and built lovely homes. And I was like, well, they didn't have the same experiences as me. So maybe they're thinking the same. Maybe they're like, why didn't I go travel the world or do all that? So I was like, okay, maybe there is no correct values. But I think I then noticed my values were shifting. And I did this breath work on the Sunday, like holotropic breath work. And I came out of it and was like, I'm moving to London. And Jamie, the facilitator, was like, London? I was like, yeah, it's like, it came to me there. I was like, it's just so perfect. I love London. I've been there a couple of times. It's always so expensive. And it just all came to me once. I was like, I could go long term. I could put down roots. I could look nice. Like this thing in Bali, it's like you just always felt minging. Like you're just sweating and on a bike and with helmets on. And this all just came to me all this moment. I was like, I'll feel better in myself. I'll meet someone and I'll have security and I'll be challenged. I can be more expensive. I'll have to work harder. And I remember saying, and I'm going to chase love. I was like, I felt this feeling of love there. And she was like, did you picture a person? I was like, no, it was in my belly. Like, and it's mad even saying that now because I realised then months later, I was like, did I just like manifest getting married? If I did, I didn't do it in the correct way. But anyway, so I had planned to leave Bali for the summer anyway, but I didn't want to tell anyone. I was like, but I kind of knew. I was like, I'm not coming back.
Okay.
And I left and it was sad. I was so sad because everyone was like, are we back? I was like, probably like August. And I didn't know, again, I just didn't want to commit to be like, I'm actually going to, I didn't know what I was going to do.
You weren't ready to say out loud?
Yeah, so I basically went home with that idea and I think I was home in Ireland for about a month before I moved to London. And I was in London about 9 months, I'd say, before I realised I was pregnant.
Okay.
With a guy from Dublin. So that changed everything again. I was like, oh my God, I have to move to Dublin. I didn't have to.
Yes.
But it made sense. And it's mad because Dublin would never have been on my radar for like my life.
Mad, isn't it?
And it's mad. I've completely changed my... Like I used to love coming to Dublin at Christmas and summer and appreciating it and then been like, right... Because I just never understood how people dealt with the weather because I was so used to the hot weather. But now I realise that there's more to life than sun.
Yes.
That there is actually, like, it might be lashing raining, but like having those special moments with my parents and with my child.
Yeah.
And I have a whole appreciation for life.
Because most of those special moments aren't a holiday.
Yeah. I mean, you have your holidays, but I've realised that I don't need the sun to be happy. Like, I think that's what I was just always chasing, the sun. I just call myself like a winter dodger.
Okay.
And now, like, I love, even now, like, driving around, I love Christmas, I love winter, and just, my purpose is different. I don't have to get up and sunbathe. I just get up and spend time with my daughter. And
it is lovely. I mean, I got lost. How I got lost, I don't know. I was only going from Stillorgan to Sandyford yesterday, but I just turned around the wrong Kilmacoid Road and everything's changed since I lived here.
I don't know anything about the south side.
And I just turned the wrong way. And then I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to work it out. And rather than put the sat nav on, I just drove for a little while. And I just drove past the houses and the lights. And I was like, isn't it nice that I've got an hour to be able to just do this? I'm lost and it's great.
That reminds me of my Auntie Roisin, who I was saying, who passed away. She used to always be like, just enjoy the adventure. When everything went wrong. Because I used to always be like, I remember getting on the wrong flight and I was like, she was like, enjoy the adventure.
Yeah.
I remember going to see her in the hospital. And I was like, I cannot find the ward. And and instead of helping me, she just was like, enjoy the adventure.
She was obviously a massive part of your life.
Yeah, she was impressing. She had a following on Instagram, or not Instagram before that, probably on Facebook, just with her attitude, because she had cancer and she was sharing the journey. She was on the Ray Darcy show a couple of times. Like, so she had Facebook fans and she was on the television once. She was invited on for International Women's Day. And so and just with her attitude and her positive, and her first time I've ever encountered like positive mental attitude, and it got her to beat cancer a few times, like while she had 2 young kids, and then the last time I suppose she did pass away, but like not without doing it in her own fashion, she started writing a book. She wanted to have her own funeral before she died, and like unfortunately it didn't. Like, she deteriorated too fast, but like she just had such a lease for life. Is that, what's the word? Yeah. And she really like impacted me. Like, I really, looking back on those summers when I worked with her, like, oh my God, she was so smart and so she had the right attitude to life. Like, it taught me a lot about business as well, because she was running this business with tourists, like, and just like her attitude, like she would be so nice to everyone and everyone loved her, and then she'd be like that's actually so stressful. Or, like she'd be so stressed behind the scenes. She's like, I'm just going to go lie down for 2 minutes. And I'm like, 2 minutes? Like she would literally nap for 2 minutes and she up, gone. Like her work ethic was really good. Okay. And like people for years would come back and be like, where's Roisin? And like you'd have to be like, God. And like they were so sad to hear she passed away.
Yes.
And that's how my sister ended up in Portugal. She went to help her. Okay. And then my sister fell in love with a Welshman. But her name was also Roisin, so it was quite confusing for the tourists who are coming back and they're like, is Roisin here? It's like, yeah, me. They're like, Siobhan O'Hagan. She's like, also me.
Oh, bless.
But yeah, so that's our connection to Portugal. And like now I still have cousins over. So like,
and isn't that lovely that you keep that connection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. I think that's really important. When someone's made such an impact on your life, it's lovely to keep that alive.
Yeah, I know, I do. Like I'd love to, I'd love to see I'd love her to see what I did with my life since.
Yes.
Because I think she was trying to get me that message of like, there's more to life than the corporate world or, you know, just trying to make money, you know, and like to see that kind of mad journey I've gone on. And
you're back here now and you're settled and you have a beautiful little girl. So like, what has that taught you, I suppose, over the last couple of years?
I think it's just to be sure, to follow what's important to you now. Like, or, you know, and doing what you want to do, not what someone else wants you to do.
Yeah. No, super important. What's next, girl?
I've no idea. Like
I love that you don't have an idea.
I'm really out of that. Like I used to be such, you know, that hustle, goal setting, you know, the emojis on the phone, setting goals. And now again, I'm like, shit, am I just in that kind of content place where I need to be pushing myself? Like for a while there, I realised I was in survival mode. Like there was no setting goals. It was like, I have so much to do every day. And I was trying to move house, launch a new business, sorting out that Manchester mortgage, like raising a child, all that, doing the yoga teacher training, like all this at the start of the year. Looking back, I'm like, how did I get through that? So I'm very much enjoying the last month or two where I've got Kyla's in creche and I'm like, oh God, I can actually just do a day's work, collect her, come home, make dinner, chill. Like
I was going to say, what's your support system like? Do you have a good support?
Oh my gosh, my parents are now, that's the thing, I keep moving closer and closer to my parents.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I moved in with them for a while and that was, again, if you told me that, I would have been like, what went wrong? But it was the loveliest time, like, and to have that help, the freedom, then we have to move, like just leave the house and stuff. So now I'm like within walking distance to them, so it's lovely. Like that's we beautiful. The evenings are just like I feel like I do need, I'll probably set some goals with the business, like that we've self-improvement project now, and just to kind of set targets for that will even just get me motivated because I think, again, that competitive
So is that new now, the self-improvement?
The self-improvement project is what it's called. So we were, like I was doing a lot of like fat loss coaching and like, to be honest, this is still fat loss coaching, but it's much more holistic. You know, we have yoga, we've done Pilates, but yeah, we have breath work, we have like a registered dietitian, we have like a women's health physio, like pre-postnatal, everything. So, because I really, you know, I want to just help people feel as good as I do in terms of like peace of mind, physically strong, flexible, and just remove any frustration around training and nutrition. And like even coming into December, like obviously there's a lot of noise. And I
saw you chatting the other day actually, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm so with you, because this is a really scary period of time for most women. It's the time where you see the before and the after pictures and the pressure of the new me, new you, 225's coming. I set 100 goals. Like I always say to people actually in Pilates, they're always like, oh, January must be mental. I always go, no, March is really busy. Because in January, everybody wants to run a marathon, be a triathlete, start swimming the channel. They break themselves and I see them in March and then I fix them.
I'm exactly the same, because we get like, people go off and do the 6-week transformations, they do the restrictive diets in January, they do the dry Jan, blah, blah. And then when they're like, actually, I need more of a balanced approach, then they can just, so I'm trying to get, like the earlier they start with us, I'm like, you can just skip all that part and just come to us. Like,
I think this is a really good time. Like,
especially going to the gyms and stuff, because the gyms are empty. Especially like, even trying to help people with their relationship with food. Like, you know, a lot of people are scared, like they track calories all the time. Yes. And then when it comes to Christmas, they're kind of worried because they don't track. But I think it's a really good, like, I think it's a good time to like kind of notice your thoughts around food and like notice that even if in December you eat everything that you've previously restricted and you go all out, then notice how in January or even just after Christmas, you naturally don't really want the stuff as much.
Yeah.
So, like you might hear me saying like against like restrictive dieting in January, but you're like, but I don't want all the stuff I was having before. So that's natural. So like, I'm kind of like lean into that. Like, so notice that when you give yourself that freedom to eat everything around you, you won't do that forever. And it's kind of learning to trust your body, that your body won't want all that.
I was going to say, if you listen to your body, like sometimes, if you go on a weekend away with the girls, you eat shit for the weekend. I come home and I am craving something green.
Yeah.
Like craving a green juice with a squeeze of lemon or something. But actually,
and like sorry to cut across it. Because what that is like a natural, like what I'm trying to get people to do. It's not it's looking at behaviours, because behaviours can be problematic.
Yeah.
But it's the thought behind the behaviour. So you might come home from that weekend and, the next morning you might be stuffed. Like you might have had pizza the night before and you might not feel that hungry and you might not have breakfast till 11 or something like that. Yeah. But if you're angry at yourself or like feeling really negative about that pizza and not allowing yourself breakfast because you're trying to fast as long as you can, that's when it's problematic. So it's really hard to even share that message online, because it's not the behaviours, it's your thoughts behind it. So like, I'm like, keep active in December, but not like get out because you're like, I'm trying to burn as many calories before eating.
Do it because you love it.
And like, that's like working with clients now. I love working with people one-to-one, because I'm like, love listening to their thoughts around things.
Okay.
And they might be like, I've been so good. Like I like language around it, good, bad, I feel disciplined, or it all went to shite. And I'm like, let's look at that. And they're like, and I'm like, let's break that down. What went to shite? And they're like, I had an extra biscuit. And I'm like, okay, this is where you work on people's like, and with that, then you become more in tune with your body. And it's even what I was saying about the shoulds, like everyone thinks they should go on a diet in January. But even if you don't, like, say you just kept eating like you did over Christmas, again, you learn to listen to your body. Your body would naturally give you signs that maybe you do want more vegetables. Yeah. And like, this is where January, I think, should be more of it, including more, like, just think about more water, more protein, more steps, more veg. And then you're filling up on these things. And if you still want your chocolate and your crisps or whatever, have it.
Yeah.
It's like when you drink too much, like your body lets you know. Like you get,
100%.
You're having a hangover, and that's why you're like, never again.
Yeah.
Well,
and then someone rings and says, do you want a cure?
Yeah. Talk to me in 24 hours. Like,
rock shandy.
Yeah. So it's a really hard thing to teach. It's a really hard thing to market online, like what we're trying to help people with.
I think because it's a 360, it's a holistic approach and and I think the days, for me anyway, the days of people just saying, this is what you need to eat. I remember going to a dietitian once, and I said, I'm going to a big dinner party. What do I do? It was an event. And she said, when the dessert comes, just put your serviette over the top of the dessert. And I went, I look like a moron, like. No, like
it's a big thing. Like,
I'm not going to hide it. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm telling you, I'm going to an event. This is what's going to happen.
I know, because there's ways of like losing weight, obviously, but it's. Like,
I want to be healthy.
Yeah, I mean, healthy, and that's the thing. People don't realize that healthy and fat loss are two different things. They can correlate, but they're not. You can be very healthy. I was absolutely like shredded, low body fat, way less healthy than I am now. And like, this is why, like,
but healthy
you don't know what you're looking at.
Feeling.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know, like I was moaning a couple of weeks ago because I just did not feel healthy. I was on the road all the time. I wasn't prepared. I was grabbing things to eat. It wasn't bringing me any joy. And I felt, disgust in myself. When I feel healthy, I feel good about myself. It all is a chain reaction.
Yeah.
I move more. I see the sun more. I'm out walking more.
Yeah. And like having the awareness, like you have that, like, to notice, like it's where if you were really, really negative, if you're speaking to yourself very negatively about that, that's when it becomes problematic, where it's like, oh, what was I doing? I shouldn't have had that, blah, blah. I'm only going to eat this really good stuff. And so again, it's like your behaviour, like it's acknowledging that, and we're never going to be perfect. Like even for December now, I'm looking at the next week and I'm like, I'm going to feel awful. But also it's like accepting that this is something I'm just going to have to accept that I'm not going to feel good, because I value all these social occasions, and I actually am excited to like be a little bit extra with everything. And I know that in January, I'm not going to be restrictive, but I know that when I get back to wanting to feel good, I'll feel good. Like might be 2 weeks of like accepting that I don't feel my best, but also not beating myself up about it. I'm not going to be angry about it. I'm just going to be
and you're going to see some amazing people doing it as well, and reconnect with people, because that's what always happens at this time of the year. And that's the stuff that I love. It's all about the feels.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, it's amazing. I could listen to you all day, but I have a question for you that was left by the last person.
Oh God, I'm scared. Oh, I have to read it out?
No. Yeah, you read it out.
Ooh, if you could wave a magic wand, what happens next? Oh, I mean, my first thought about that was Gaza and like the state of the world. Yeah. Like, and I know that sounds like a little Miss Universe answer, but like it's something underlying like all this joy and Christmas and everything. Oh, I'm getting upset thinking about it. Like
it's shit.
It's so shit. Anyway, I don't know. And it's even just with Instagram, like trying to get on like normal and knowing all the stuff is always going on. And then personally, if you could wave a magic wand, what happens next? This is where I need some goals, don't I? Like I need to have some things that I'm working towards. I suppose just a good year for the self-improvement project because it's so fulfilling in doing the work. So I think it's like realistically, I just need to market it better. I just need, so I need, I don't know, I'm kind of like, I think we will do that like in the new year. I think I just want to.
It sounds like you have all the right people in place.
Yeah.
Apart from Pilates instructor. But all the right people in place. So, yeah, I wish you all the best with it. And let's hope that everything that you would wish for will happen next year.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So thank you for listening to this week's Be-Bell podcast. Don't forget, you can find us on social media. If you've got any questions, then please don't hesitate to DM us at bbell_wellness. You can also find this on our YouTube channel, which is my YouTube channel, Sian Horn. And don't forget, the more people that subscribe, the better that we can make this pod. So don't forget, like and subscribe across all channels. And thank you.